Prince Harry never imagined the day would come when he'd reach out in desperation, only to be met with silence so deafening it felt like a final goodbye. Once upon a time, he and William were more than just brothers. They were battle-worn allies, bonded not just by blood, but by grief, pressure, and a palace that rarely offered peace. But now, they're miles apart. Not just geographically, but emotionally, spiritually, like two strangers wearing old memories that no longer fit. And here's the gut punch. Harry's beginning to see that the door he hoped might reopen may have been welded shut long ago. This isn't about a single falling out. It's the slow erosion, moment by moment, of a relationship built in the shadows of tragedy and unraveled under the glare of global scrutiny. Harry, stepping back from royal life, was the spark, but the real firestorm came later. The televised truths, the memoirs, the documentaries, every piece another blow to a fragile bond. And now, after years of headlines and heartbreak, Harry's made a quiet move. No cameras, no press release. Just one man trying to reach his brother before it's too late. But William, he's not answering. Not out of revenge, but out of something deeper and more painful. Before we dive in, make sure to like this video and drop a comment below. Do you think some wounds cut so deep even family can't heal them? They used to walk side by side, speaking a language only siblings understand, full of glances, half smiles, and unspoken loyalty. Now, they're on parallel tracks that never intersect. Two lives unfolding in opposite directions, shaped by choices neither of them can undo. For Harry, California was supposed to be freedom, a clean slate, but as the spotlight faded and the noise died down, what lingered wasn't peace, it was absence, the kind you feel in the quiet moments. At night, on holidays, when you glance at your child and realize there's a cousin they may never truly know. Meanwhile, across the ocean, William is entrenched in duty. While Harry left the crown behind, William stood firm in its shadow, not because he had no choice, but because he believed someone had to. When Harry stepped away, William stepped forward, into press briefings, charity galas, crisis meetings, and into the emotional storm their family couldn't escape. But it's not just responsibility that's hardened William, it's betrayal. At least, that's how he sees it. Because when Harry chose to speak out, it wasn't just his truth that was revealed, it was their truth, their childhood, their pain. Their private conversations laid bare for the world to dissect. That wasn't just a breach, it was a break. And that's the part Harry may never fully understand. To him, the memoirs, the interviews, the specials, they were a release. A way to finally speak after a lifetime of being silent. But for William, they were a wound reopened again and again. That wasn't even the worst part. It gets deeper. Behind palace walls, there's a different kind of silence. The kind that isn't filled with anger, but with exhaustion. William isn't ignoring Harry to prove a point. He's trying to protect what little structure remains. The monarchy, his family, his own sense of emotional safety. He's watched one too many heartfelt moments become headlines. One too many private talks twist into narratives. And every time Harry opens the door, William braces himself for the fallout. Because trust, real trust, doesn't survive repeated aftershocks. And yet, there's something tragic about it all. Because this isn't to men who hate each other. It's to brothers who once loved each other enough to face the world together. And now, they can't even face each other at all. But the weight Harry is carrying, it's different. For Harry, this isn't about ego. It's not about winning. It's about something far more human. A quiet kind of desperation. The realization that, for all the luxury and liberation, something fundamental is missing. Because what good is freedom if it means you're free from the people who once made you feel whole? Behind the sun-drenched smiles in Hollywood circles, Harry's dealing with a silence that echoes louder than any scandal. Meghan is weathering storms of her own. Public perception has shifted. Their media ventures, once the darlings of progressive rebellion, now draw scrutiny and sides. And amid all of it, Harry's left wondering whether the price of carving his own path was losing everyone who once walked it beside him. This latest outreach to William wasn't planned for the cameras. It wasn't strategic. It was raw, direct. A phone call, a message, a simple attempt to bridge a canyon he helped create, but William didn't answer and he didn't ignore it out of malice. No, this was self-preservation, because William isn't just juggling titles and appearances, he's carrying the weight of a fractured dynasty. While Harry rebuilt in Malibu, William remained in the storm. Through King Charles' ongoing health crises, through Kate's own quiet battle with recovery, through the relentless expectations of a nation clinging to its traditions, every handshake, every ribbon cut, every awkward photo op, William showed up. Because that's what the future king does. And in his eyes, re-engaging with Harry isn't just emotional, it's political. It's risky. He's been burned before, and he's not ready to touch the flame again. But what happened next changed. Everything because, according to royal insiders, William's decision to pull back wasn't just about the past, it was about the future, his own children, his own legacy, and a line he's no longer willing to blur. William knows that every move he makes sets the tone for a generation. He's not just a brother anymore, he's a father raising the next heir, a symbol of continuity in a monarchy that's fraying at the edges. And with the Queen gone, with his father's health in decline, the pressure has never been higher. That's what makes Harry's olive branch so complicated to William. It's not just a message from his brother, it's a dilemma, a choice between heart and duty. And duty keeps winning because when Harry opens up, the consequences ripple beyond their relationship. A private phone call becomes a podcast anecdote. A family memory turns into a media pitch. Even if Harry doesn't mean for it to happen, it happens. And William's not blind to the cycle. The timing, the pattern. Every reunion seems to precede a project, a reveal, a new deal in the works. So when Harry reaches out, William doesn't just hear a voice from the past. He hears warning bells. And still, that doesn't mean William isn't hurting. Insiders say the silence weighs on him more than he lets on. Late nights, distant stares, moments when he's lost in thought, not about the crown, but about the boy who used to be his shadow. The brother who stood beside him at their mother's funeral, walking behind the coffin with the world watching, grieving together in silence. Those memories, they don't vanish. They just get buried beneath duty and disappointment. But the emotional distance isn't just between Harry and William. There was a time when Kate acted as the quiet link between them. The calming presence, the peacemaker. She would nudge William toward reconciliation, gently bridge the gap. But that role, it's over. Being dragged into the public feud changed everything. She's not just William's wife, she's a mother, a public figure, a woman quietly navigating her own health battle. And after everything, she's retreated from that role of referee. She has to protect herself now emotionally, physically, reputationally. There's simply no space left for her to carry someone else's pain. And here's where things take a turn, ... Because as Harry continues to reach out hoping for even a sliver of response, what he's really confronting is the echo chamber of regret. For Harry, this isn't about ego anymore. It's about coming to terms with everything he didn't realize he was losing until it was gone. He's starting to see the cracks, not just in the family, but in himself. The excitement of independence has dulled, the applause has faded. What's left behind is something more raw, more human. A growing awareness that all the documentaries and deals in the world can't replace the feeling of being seen. Truly seen by someone who's known you since childhood, and the hardest part? He's beginning to understand that the bridge he's trying to rebuild might already be ash, because even now his message hangs in the air unanswered. William hasn't blocked him. He hasn't lashed out. He's just chosen to do nothing at all. And that silence? It's not passive. It's intentional. Sources say William's not looking for an apology. He's not even hoping for a grand gesture. What he wants, what he needs, is proof that this time is different. He's been burned too many times by conversations that seemed honest, only to find pieces of them sprinkled across press tours and streaming platforms months later. And, whether Harry meant it or not, the result is the same. William no longer knows what's real, and without trust, there is no foundation. Meanwhile, inside the palace, the energy is cautious. The idea of a Harry-William reunion doesn't spark excitement. It sparks concern. Advisors are wary, staff are tight-lipped, even extended family members tread lightly around the subject. They've watched too many reconciliations turn into media firestorms, too many private moments twisted into public drama. To them, distance equals stability. And stability is what the monarchy needs most right now. But that doesn't make the silence any easier to bear, especially for Harry. Because this time, his call wasn't calculated. It wasn't performative. It came from somewhere deeper. From a man who's finally starting to feel the weight of everything he walked away from. The dinners that won't happen. The cousins who won't grow up together. The birthdays, the weddings, the late-night talks that will never be. This isn't just about two brothers anymore. It's about a future that's quietly slipping through their fingers. A legacy of connection that's unraveling thread by thread. And the most painful part, Harry is starting to realize that not all wounds can be healed with words. Some require time. Others require sacrifice. But this one might require something even harder. Letting go. But just when it feels like things couldn't get any colder, something stirs behind the scenes. According to those close to the situation, there are quiet conversations happening, not between Harry and William directly, but in the spaces around them. People who care about both sides, people who've seen the damage firsthand. A few believe there's still a narrow path toward healing, but only if both men are willing to meet in the middle. And that's the challenge, because right now, they're not just on different continents, they're in different emotional worlds. Harry, wants to talk as a brother. William can only see him as a liability. Harry wants connection. William sees exposure. Harry reaches out. William steps back, and in that dance of hesitation and hurt, time keeps moving. Moments keep slipping away. King Charles, caught in the middle, remains silent. Whether it's his own health concerns or emotional fatigue, he's taken a step back. He's no longer the peacemaker. And truthfully, maybe he never was. That role once belonged to someone else. To Diana. Diana was the thread that held them together, even after she was gone. Her memory, her love, her values. For years, the brothers seemed to walk in her legacy, trying in their own ways to live out what she believed in. Compassion, courage, family. But even that thread is wearing thin. Some royal watchers still hold on to hope. They dream of a moment, a quiet reunion away from cameras, away from pressure, where two brothers look at each other and finally remember not who they've become, but who they used to be when they weren't royals. Or public figures, or walking controversies. Just William and Harry boys who shared secrets, who faced a funeral together, who leaned on each other when the world didn't make sense. But every unanswered message from William makes that memory feel further and further away. And Harry, he's starting to accept that the silence might be permanent. Not because there's no love, but because love, in this case, wasn't enough to survive everything else. The schedules, the headlines, the betrayals, real or perceived, have carved a wall so high that even family can't scale it. And maybe that's the real tragedy here. Not that they fought, not even that they drifted apart, but that two people, once inseparable, may spend the rest of their lives pretending not to miss each other. So where does it all go from here? The truth is, reconciliation won't come through a press release. It won't come from a grand speech. It'll have to come quietly from two men who decide to take off the armor and listen, not as heirs, not as husbands, not as symbols, but as brothers. Because at the end of the day, no crown is worth more than connection, and no legacy will ever matter more than love that was lost, and maybe, just maybe, could still be found. Until then, the silence holds, one hand reaching out, one heart holding back, and the world watches. Not for the drama this time, but for something much rarer: forgiveness.